What if I told you there's a gun in Arc Raiders no one is using, everyone should, and I have the proof to back it up? Why me? Of all the guns in Arc Raiders, we really only use a few, and I was curious why. Then I spawned into a Queen raid and realized it's because the game wants it that way. Every time you spawn into one of these raids, your eardrums are violently assaulted by a random announcer screaming some iteration of,
"We've got word of a patrolling Queen nearby. Make sure you're well equipped and brought backup."
And like everyone else, I took that annoying reminder literally. Where's the backup? Shoving every expensive pink and yellow item from my inventory into my backpack, only to come up with absolutely nothing of value except the very intimate shortcomings of Haller and Various Killer.
I have erectile dysfunction. Hey, me too, brother. You're not alone.
Well, there's my intro. So I decided to ignore the consensus that you need a 20-foot equalizer on your back and a safe pocket full of wolf packs to compete against this beast and try something new. And I'm very glad that I did. The plan was to use 3 different guns and nothing else to see how effective they were at killing the Queen. Instead of a secondary weapon, I just ran 2 identical ones because it looks funny on your back and also I hate reloading. Since I finally found the blueprint in the last video, I started with everyone's favorite socioeconomic status symbol, the Tempest. Oh wow, this is a great spawn. Somehow the spawns would just keep getting better. The rules of the experiment were pretty simple. Okay, everyone write this down. First raid, we run nothing but the Tempest 4. I have more medium ammo than God in my backpack, so we shouldn't run out. I do everything in my power to kill the Queen, and at the end of the raid, we'll record the damage done. I will be playing this like an idiot, will likely get downed, and wailed like a child for a defib. That about sums it up, yeah. The first step to inflicting damage on this overweight abomination is to control the fight and make her come to you. Think I can aggro her this way? These creatures obviously have some programming parameters, but it's always worth a shot, or in this case, 33 of them. Time to see how much damage this actually does. I was running an extended barrel 3 on one and a silencer 3 on the other, just for those who are curious. 368 is more than I thought, honestly. The Tempest was supposed to be the throwaway in this grand experiment, since the other 2 guns are more known for packing a punch, but this was a sign of things to come. Where is that Rocketeer? Is a question I should have answered before I went full Leroy Jenkins. Sitting in the back and lobbing pot shots at the Queen is all well and good if you have a Hullcracker, Jupiter, or Equalizer, but I wanted to push the Tempest to its limits, and sitting safely in the back of the class just wasn't cutting it for me. At this point, an intrusive thought had entered my brain, and since I had brought my snap hook with me, I had the ability to answer it. How long do you think I can ride her before I die? Turns out much longer than I thought. Just like the matriarch, the Queen has a soft spot in the form of a giant glowing red orb that at this point was still very protected by her hard exterior. The plan was to climb up top, become her therapist, and allow her to open up. Okay, here we go. But she doesn't want to talk about her feelings and has 2 defense mechanisms. First being her size 20 shoes. I just want to talk. The second is a death ray. This is bad. While it is terrifying and can 360 no-scope someone from across the map, start the timer. There is one spot you're actually safe from it. Every so often she opens up her core, and when that moment comes, you have to be ready. So I pounced on my opportunity and started to rack up the damage. 480. We are moving in the right direction. If I hadn't seen the Rocketeer in the distance, oh, there it is. I would have just started blasting the armor off, but at this point I was essentially one shot, and if the Sky God took interest, I was very dead. We're gonna play this one methodically, okay? So instead I charged my shield and topped off my health. By that I mean incredibly reckless. All told, I was still pretty impressed with the Tempest. Sure, I was literally standing on top of the most vulnerable part of the Queen, riding without consequence for what was now about 25 seconds, but things were going well, right until they weren't. How long was that? It had to be like 2 minutes. Let's do it again. After healing up, I decided to do it all over again, but this time things would go a little different than last time. If you have a death wish like me, one thing you really need to be on the lookout for are errant wolf pack. I regret the full commit. No one's really trying to kill you with them, but you're placing yourself right on their intended target, and in the fog that is this war, you can become collateral damage. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I was running Survivor, so it wasn't super vital that I got up right away, but every second I was down was a second I wasn't putting 66 rounds of medium ammo directly into the Queen. Hey, you got a D? Okay, never mind. And given how much damage the Tempest was doing, I wanted to get up right away. Okay, I'm gonna go ride it again. I might see you in a few more minutes. Actually, I wouldn't. I wish I could give you the perfect step-by-step directions on how to get on top without almost dying, but this type of risky, self-destructive behavior is full of variables, and I was about to encounter another circular-shaped one. Oh, hello, fellow raider. This helmetless raider was not only ignoring the American Medical Association's advice for head trauma prevention, they were actually about to steal a whole lot of my damage. Oh, are you deadlining? This was definitively a bummer. My time to inflict bodily harm was now drawing to a close, and while I was able to milk some more damage, my goal had shifted. try to get a few more cores for my effort, but something strange was going on. I think that should probably do her. Every core I looted looked like a children's plate after dinner, completely picked over with only the vegetables left behind. This was half my fault because I'd spent about 100% of the raid either shooting, reloading, dying, or directly on top of the queen, but if you're someone who doesn't eat the vegetables, please just loot the entire container so you don't leave raiders with a false sense of hope. Okay, disappointing. But what does the damage look like? The Tempest ended up with a respectable 3,581 points of damage, but now it was time for my personal pick, the Bettina. Oh wow, we got an even better spawn. This is huge. Just like the Tempest, these twin towers of destruction were fully upgraded, but this time our weaponry was being fueled by full, unleaded, heavy ammo. By the way, I took off my helmet because when I'm on top of the queens, I wanted to feel the wind in my hair. Exactly 28 seconds into the raid, and the shots heard around the lobby had already been fired. But instead of Lexington and Concord, this battle would take place in this Shell gas station and in the skies. Man, that lava really messes you up. Determined not to become a burn patient, I huddled up inside, healed, recharged, reloaded, and began the real assault. While the Tempest carries the prestige and honestly the cost of a Rolex, the Bettina is kind of like a Fitbit, a watch that's fairly cost effective, not too stylish, and everyone who owns a Rolex looks down upon. Sure, it's purple, but if we're all honest with ourselves, guys, if you get one, you're likely either selling it or stripping it for parts, which in the past made absolute sense. So you just track me through a wall? Yes, the queen has a very good gaming chair. Secondary goal. I'm gonna try to get a core this time. As the Bettina was thumping away, other raiders who spawned further away had finally arrived, which leads me to a subplot I wasn't prepared for, but now feel the need to address. Just about every other raider in these lobbies must have had at least one parent who was either a Dyson or Hoover, because they simply sucked up any and all cores. This thing is shredding through her armor. I know the queen drops fewer cores than the matriarch, but this suction-fueled epidemic seems to infect both types of lobbies. So I was still trying to have my cake and eat it too. I'm positive those legs will be there when I get back. And while I don't condone the actions taken against the now invasive vacuum species at the end of this video, I gotta say I at least understand them. My snap hook is trolling me. The Bettina recently got a buff in so much as the fire rate got reduced, but the damage went up. That was slightly embarrassing, which is a confusing way to say it probably got better. And for those paying attention to the damage scrolling by on the left side of the screen, you're probably surprised it's doing as well as it is. But it was now time for the real test.
That is where I am going.
How much damage does it do to the core? It turns out, a whole lot, which is even more impressive when I direct your attention to the bottom right-hand side of the screen to point out that the Bettina only has 22 rounds in a magazine. I don't think the view from up here will ever get old. Unfortunately, all the other raiders running around with equalizers, which I can only assume is some type of metaphorical compensation for their own masculinity, couldn't see my damage total. So they probably just thought the legs on the ground magically dropped for them and their overpriced yellow energy weapons. But my Midwestern sensibility would prevent me from taking it further than this overly polite way of asking them to stop. Have you already gotten a core yet? Because I'd love to get one, if you have. Instead, Stab and Shoot just grunted something into their microphone and took their sweet time not living up to the second part of their gamer tag. Okay, well, for someone with Shoot in their username, I sure haven't seen a lot of it happening. Honestly, I'm pretty proud of that one. That guy, I'm going riding. After placing my nutsack directly on the queen's only functional eye, it was time to pad the stats. Start the timer. Okay. It's obviously running, and this one is going to shatter my personal record. It was a bit odd that not a single raider had so much as thrown a wolf pack, let alone join me on my throne to plan a deadline, but given the state of loot I'd find on the ground when I finally got bounced, I guess in retrospect it's pretty obvious why. Nice try, I'm not leaving. One odd thing was starting to happen though, and I still don't have a definitive answer on why, so let me know in the comments if you do. Both guns were identical, yet one was producing slightly more damage than the other. Think there are any unlooted cores left? The only two reasons I could come up with are the difference between the silencer and the extended barrel, or the game's sometimes shoddy hit registration, because once you stop moving, they seem to balance out. Either way, the damage was consistently adding up to numbers with a comma, so I felt like the art gods would soon be rewarding me with a core or two when the queen politely asked me to leave. Nailed the landing. Not bad. Let me just hop right back up here super quick. I was politely but firmly told by the queen that wasn't going to be happening, so I figured now was my time to get my well-earned core. Okay, fine, I'll just loot. Not once while I was riding her did I, or you, hear the hum of an equalizer, and it was about to become readily apparent why that was the case.
Kind of over getting stepped on.
The stomping of this giantess did not sway me from my steadfast commitment for Goop, and when I went to search the first leg, I thought I was in luck because, by some act of God, it wasn't even hit yet. Then Various Killer uttered the 7 words you never want to hear during a queen raid. Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Wow, that's crazy. Rat.
Somebody's ratting? I was on the case. Don't day. Well, you know, it's very hard to hear you, but I hope we get justice. Oh, justice would be had. Did someone come over here and only loot the actual core? Because that is degenerate behavior. They sure did. But that deadline you just heard while I was looting meant that the bystander effect was no longer working, and other raiders were now overweight with cores and had finally joined in the fight. And while there was even a momentary smile brought to my face when I caught a few errant beams from an equalizer, someone had finally figured out how to fire, it meant my time bringing the Bettina and Queen closer together was beginning to draw to a close, and it couldn't have came at a better time. Okay, that was incredibly dangerous, but also sick. To those of you who have been paying attention and know what's about to happen, just don't ruin the surprise for everyone else because we're a few seconds away. Honestly, guys, we are cruising. Despite coming into the raid with 428 rounds, I was somehow at the very end of my supply of heavy ammo.
Now I see the problem.
So having already racked up a ridiculous damage score, I dismounted my lover, waited for her imminent demise, and focused my efforts on trying to outwit the lobby to get my cores. Think if I ride her as she blows up, I'll be able to get the loot in the middle. I mean, like, it's worth a shot. As she was starting to teeter, I made my snap hook work overtime and got on top. An absurd amount of damage, severe risk of bodily harm, and general gallantry for 9 minutes and 31 seconds would surely tip the odds in my favor. Okay, here we go. Instead, I would be put in a prison of metal, and by the time I escaped, the vacuums had already descended. You gotta be kidding me. If you thought I was mad, just wait to see what they did to the other guy. Because as I was frantically searching pieces for any sign of loot in the exfil, so I could see just how much damage I'd done, the rest of the lobby had descended into madness. Oh, that's a raider flare. I would like to go on record as saying, in general, I don't support extrajudicial killings, but I will make an exception in this specific case.
Are we not questioning the man they shot him?
I'm just gonna let that happen.
This dude just ratted in front of us.
Well, he got a kettle. Are you coming to a main trade with a kettle?
He's got a kettle.
Yep, no,
Yeah.
I can confirm that.
Yeah, we're gonna let him kill the guy with the kettle for sure.
Okay.
Look, in his defense, he also had a Hornet drive. Why do you have a deadline out? I wasn't sticking around to find out the answer because I wanted to see what type of insane number our final gun had to beat. Oh, this spawn looks familiar. The Bettinas had done their job to the tune of a whopping 10,526 damage total. I mean, it's gonna be hard to beat, but I have faith in this thing. Despite autocorrect not recognizing it as a word and running on medium ammo, this gun has quietly been both a close personal friend and favorite of mine for quite some time. Derived from the Spanish word torrente, this killing machine lives up to its dictionary definition as a fast and turbulent stream of water, except in this specific instance, the water is made of bullets. Like all the others, it was fully upgraded, which really helps the reload time, thus increasing the amount of time I can hold down my right trigger and inflict maximum damage. I'm calling it right now, getting a core this raid. It only has one downside. Unless you are inches away from your target, you're going to waste a bit of ammo as its spread is larger than a Packers-Bears game, which wouldn't have mattered except for the fact that I was about to learn that sometimes, for whatever reason, the game decides to replace the Rocketeer that usually guards the Queen with a vaporizer? Now, this complicates things. Complicates was doing some pretty heavy lifting there, because I now had to battle 2 Arc with the most destructive energy beam in human history.
Gonna be honest, guys, 0% chance I live.
1, you can dodge, but 2 pretty much seals your fate.
Yeah.
That might be the most unlucky death I've ever had in this video game. Usually this is the part where some good guy, who had seen it all take place, comes along with the defib and rewards me for my testicular fortitude. But given everyone's growing annoyance with loot goblins and the fact that I had seen a gang murder in the last raid, I was moderately concerned this could be the end. So, anyone happen to have a defib? Thankfully, Stitch was around.
Let's go, boys!
Stitch, thank you. You have restored my faith in humanity.
Come inside.
Oh, don't worry, I will, but I might need your help again.
Okay.
Actually, it would be Sir Doggo.
This cannot be happening again.
I now had the unfortunate displeasure of not only being smushed, but smushed in the middle of the battlefield with no cover or health, running from not only the largest arc in the game, but also a vaporizer who could clearly smell my blood in the water and, like a shark, was circling. So I really only had one play left. Hope this works. Throw a decoy grenade, hope the vaporizer forgot to take its Adderall and got distracted. Yeah, it did. It did not work. Once I was back up, thank you, Sir Doggo, I still wasn't out of the woods. Oh no, not like this. Every second that ticked by was less damage I'd be able to inflict, so I did what I could to quickly clean myself up and get back in the fight.
I'm so not safe here.
There was one silver lining though. It felt like this lobby had some decency.
Glad I'm not that guy.
Which was not only a good thing for my increasingly frail mortality, but also because there might be some loot left at the end of the battle, which just knocked me out of the air. There's a question I still don't have an answer to, so please enlighten me if you figure it out. The only question I was interested in was how much more damage I could do now that the Queen's chastity armor was broken and her core exposed. While I had admittedly spent much of the raid in a down state, there was still a chance of a comeback, as I had almost 200 rounds of medium ammo, which can be delivered with the speed of a Formula 1 car at my disposal. And if you're watching those damage scores over there, I feel like this is going to be closer than I thought. There's still a shot to catch the Bettina and walk out of here with a core or two in my safe pocket.
I feel like I've been up here a very long time.
Just short of the record. The Queen had picked up a pack of Camels from the 7-Eleven up the road and was now smoking, so I tried to get on top so I could have another crack at the middle core when she went kaboom, and in the process learned a few valuable things.
Why won't it let me up?
Number 1, the snap hook has a complete mind of its own. It will give you the solid white, yup, you can use it here, let you attempt to do it, and then at the last possible second, go back on its word, leaving you with your cheeks flapping in the wind. Well, that sucks. Number 2, I'm not saying I have a large enough data set to firmly back this up, but anecdotally, wearing a helmet seems to lessen the amount of times you get your skull pushed in by the Queen. So make sure you're wearing one and your chin strap is tight. Number 3, unless you completely ignore your moral compass, it honestly doesn't matter where you are.
Look at my health. How am I alive?
You should abandon all hope of ever walking out of a raid with a Queen core in your safe pocket again. It's impossible, I hate it, and I thought about killing this guy but chickened out because unlike some people, I refuse to ruin someone's day because I didn't get yellow lewd. The fourth and final lesson? Well, when it comes to damage, I guess we have a new sheriff in town because all hail the Bettina.